I pointed this $15 device at the sky and watched 17 hidden surveillance drones instantly appear on my screen. 3 were hovering directly over my house. The scariest part? My security system never detected a single one. Here's what's really flying over your home tonight. Your neighbor's kid just got a drone for Christmas. Harmless fun, right? Well, that innocent-looking gadget buzzing around the backyard can actually fly up to 7 kilometers away from whoever's holding the controller. That's roughly 4 miles of range, where someone could be watching you without you even knowing they're in the same zip code. Here's what might surprise you: over 1 million consumer drones get sold every year. We're not talking about military equipment here. These are the kind you can grab at your local electronics store or order online with 2-day shipping. Each one of these flying machines is essentially a potential spy camera with wings, and they're multiplying faster than rabbits in springtime. But wait, it gets more interesting. Many of these drones come equipped with cameras that can zoom in crystal clear from over 100 meters away. That's roughly the length of a football field. Someone could be hovering their drone above the trees at the end of your street, casually recording your morning coffee routine on the patio, and you'd probably never notice. Then there's the night vision situation. Some drone models use infrared technology, which means they can literally see in complete darkness. Even weirder, they can peek through certain barriers that would normally block regular cameras. Your privacy fence might not be as private as you think. The really wild part is autonomous flight programming. These aren't just remote-controlled toys anymore. They're becoming mini-computers that can fly predetermined routes without any human operator nearby. You could program one to patrol a specific area, take photos at certain times, or follow GPS coordinates, all while the actual owner sits comfortably at home eating pizza and watching Netflix. Makes sense why privacy advocates are getting nervous, right? When Uncle Bob could theoretically launch a surveillance mission over half the neighborhood from his living room, we've definitely entered some uncharted territory. And the weird part is how normalized this has become. People see a drone flying overhead and barely give it a second glance. But that same flying device might be recording their license plates, documenting their daily routines, or mapping out their property layout. It's like having a private investigator in the sky, except this one runs on batteries and costs less than a decent laptop. What makes this whole situation particularly tricky is the detection problem. Unlike a suspicious person lurking around your property, someone you could easily spot and confront, these aerial visitors operate in 3-dimensional space. They can approach from angles you'd never think to watch, hover at distances where they're barely visible, and disappear before you've even figured out what you're looking at. The privacy implications are staggering when you really think about it. Every backyard barbecue, every pool party, every quiet moment in your garden could potentially have an uninvited electronic audience. But here's the thing. Spotting these aerial intruders isn't impossible if you know what signs to look for and have the right detection methods in your toolkit. Knowing there's a threat is one thing, but actually catching these flying spies in action, that's where things get interesting. Most people walk around completely oblivious to what's buzzing overhead. Meanwhile, their neighbor could be getting a crystal clear view of their backyard barbecue from 200 feet up. RF detectors are your first line of defense here. These gadgets pick up the radio signals between drones and their controllers within a 2-kilometer range. The moment a drone powers up in your area, you'll know about it. Some models even tell you what brand of drone it is. Pretty neat, right? But here's the catch. They can't distinguish between your neighbor's harmless toy helicopter and something more concerning. Then there's the sound factor. Drone propellers create a distinct buzzing that's different from regular aircraft. Acoustic sensors can detect this specific frequency even when the drone is behind walls or trees. It's like having super hearing for unwanted visitors. The downside: your kid's remote-controlled car might trigger false alarms. Radar systems work brilliantly for larger drones, but here's where it gets tricky. Those small consumer models, the ones that fit in your palm, often slip right through radar detection. They're simply too tiny to register as significant objects. It's like trying to spot a hummingbird with equipment designed for eagles. Well, what about just using your eyes? Day and night optical cameras combined with thermal imaging can track drones in complete darkness. These systems work around the clock, automatically scanning the sky for unusual movement patterns. The thermal component is particularly clever because it picks up the heat signature from drone motors and batteries. Most surveillance drones follow predictable patterns. They typically fly below 400 feet. That's roughly the height of a 40-story building. The weird part is timing. Early morning and evening hours are prime drone surveillance time. Why? Lower air traffic, better lighting conditions for cameras, and fewer people looking up. But spotting isn't just about fancy equipment. Sometimes the simplest observations work best. Drones hovering in one spot for extended periods are suspicious. Regular aircraft don't just hang around your backyard for 20 minutes. Makes sense, right? Let's not forget that many modern drones are surprisingly quiet. Manufacturers keep improving motor efficiency and propeller design. What used to sound like an angry wasp now barely registers above ambient noise. This evolution makes acoustic detection increasingly challenging. Multiple detection methods work better than relying on just one. RF detectors might miss autonomous drones operating without constant radio contact. Radar could overlook micro-drones. Cameras might struggle with fast-moving objects at distance. And the strange reality: most people never look up. We're programmed to watch where we're walking, not what's flying overhead. This behavioral blind spot makes drone surveillance remarkably effective for those with malicious intent. Detection is only half the battle, though. Once you've confirmed there's an unwanted drone in your airspace, what exactly can you do about it? The answer involves some surprisingly creative solutions that go way beyond just waving your fist at the sky. You've spotted the drone. Now what? Time to build your fortress of solitude, minus the cape and the dramatic monologue. Physical barriers work surprisingly well against these buzzing intruders, and they're often the cheapest solution you'll find. Netting transforms your backyard into an impenetrable web. Industrial-grade mesh, stretched over gardens or patios, creates a no-fly zone that'll stop most consumer drones dead in their tracks. The key: get netting with holes smaller than 2 inches. Anything larger, and those compact racing drones will slip through like they're playing aerial limbo. Installation takes a weekend, but the peace of mind lasts years. But here's where things get spicy: electronic countermeasures. Signal jammers can drop a drone faster than a lead balloon by cutting its connection to the operator. These devices flood the airwaves with interference, forcing most drones into emergency landing mode. The catch: private jammer use is illegal in many countries, including the United States. Break these rules and you might face fines that'll make your mortgage payment look reasonable. Then there's the art of confusion warfare. Hanging reflective objects around your property, mirrors, metallic streamers, even old CDs can scramble a drone's camera system. The constant glare and reflection make it nearly impossible to capture clear footage. One homeowner in Texas reported that his collection of spinning mirror balls turned surveillance attempts into a disco nightmare for would-be spies. Net guns represent the Wild West approach to drone defense. These compressed air cannons fire weighted nets at ranges up to 100 meters, wrapping around rotors and sending intruders tumbling to earth. They're legal in most places since they're considered capture devices rather than weapons. The downside: you need decent aim and quick reflexes. Miss your shot, and that drone pilot knows exactly where you are. High-power microwave devices sound like something from a science fiction movie, but they're real and surprisingly effective. HPM tools emit focused electromagnetic pulses that fry drone electronics instantly. The technology works so well that military units worldwide have adopted similar systems. However, these devices come with a nuclear option problem. They might also disable your neighbor's Wi-Fi router, garage door opener, or pacemaker. Collateral damage is a genuine concern. The weird part is how creative people get with combinations. One security consultant in California combines reflective barriers with acoustic deterrence speakers that emit high-frequency sounds designed to interfere with drone stabilization systems. Another uses motion-activated sprinkler systems that spray water mixed with biodegradable paint, marking trespassing drones while potentially damaging their electronics. Smart deployment means layering these defenses strategically. Start with passive barriers like netting in sensitive areas, then add electronic countermeasures for active threats. Keep portable solutions like net guns ready for emergency situations. Remember though, every defense has limitations, and drone technology keeps advancing. What stops today's consumer models might not work against tomorrow's military-grade equipment. That's why the next level requires thinking beyond simple barriers and moving into sophisticated detection systems that can predict and counter threats before they become problems. When basic netting and signal jammers aren't enough, it's time to enter the world of tech that sounds like it came straight out of a spy movie. These advanced solutions pack serious punch, though they'll also test your wallet's limits. Anti-drone kits with directional antennas work like digital hijackers. Instead of just blocking signals, they can actually take control of a drone mid-flight. The drone operator suddenly finds their aircraft heading home without permission. Some kits can override commands from distances exceeding 2 kilometers, but here's the catch. These devices often cost more than most people's monthly rent. Machine learning software has revolutionized drone detection accuracy. Remember trying to tell if that speck in the sky was a bird or a drone? Well, AI doesn't have that problem anymore. These systems analyze flight patterns, wing beat frequencies, and movement signatures. Birds flap wings irregularly. Drones maintain steady rotor speeds. The software learns these differences and rarely makes mistakes. Within seconds it knows whether you're dealing with a curious sparrow or unwanted surveillance. Then there are automated defense systems that work like digital guard dogs. They scan the sky continuously, track movement patterns, and send alerts to your phone before you'd ever notice anything suspicious. Some systems integrate with home security networks, recording flight paths and storing evidence automatically. The fascinating part, they can distinguish between your neighbor's hobby drone and something potentially threatening based on loitering behavior. Portable laser tools represent the cutting edge of drone defense technology. These aren't the laser pointers from your college presentations. Military-grade versions can disable drone cameras or navigation systems from impressive distances. However, civilian versions remain heavily restricted, and for good reason. Point one incorrectly, and you might blind a pilot or damage aircraft electronics. But wait, it gets more interesting. Interceptor drones are becoming the ultimate solution for drone-on-drone combat. These specialized aircraft launch automatically when threats are detected, deploy nets mid-air, and capture intruding drones like aerial fishing. Companies now manufacture interceptor drones specifically for residential protection. They return captured drones to designated landing zones, preserving evidence while neutralizing threats. High-power microwave devices deserve special mention, though they're controversial. HPM technology can disable multiple drones simultaneously by overwhelming their electronic systems. Think of it as an electromagnetic pulse, specifically tuned for small aircraft. The downside, these devices might also knock out your Wi-Fi router, garage door opener, and possibly your neighbor's smart thermostat. Cost remains the biggest barrier for most homeowners. Basic detection systems start around $500, while comprehensive automated defense networks can exceed $10,000. Professional-grade interceptor drones cost significantly more. Makes sense, right? You're essentially building a miniature air defense system. The weird part is how quickly this technology advances. Equipment considered cutting-edge 2 years ago now seems primitive compared to current offerings. Machine learning algorithms improve monthly, detection ranges increase, and prices gradually become more reasonable. While these solutions offer impressive capabilities, they raise important questions about legal boundaries and responsible implementation. Understanding the legal landscape becomes crucial before investing in any advanced anti-drone technology. Before you start jamming every drone in sight, pump the brakes. The law doesn't mess around when it comes to anti-drone equipment. Most countries treat signal jammers like weapons because technically that's what they are to electronic devices. In the United States, using a jammer can land you a fine of up to $100,000. Well, that's one expensive way to learn about regulations. The Federal Communications Commission doesn't care if someone's drone is hovering over your barbecue. They care that you just disrupted emergency services, air traffic control, and your neighbor's Wi-Fi router all at once. Makes sense, right? Jammers don't discriminate between targets. They're like using a sledgehammer to swat a fly, effective but messy. Then there's the sticky question of property rights. That drone buzzing overhead, it might belong to your neighbor's kid, who's just learning to fly, or it could be a delivery drone carrying someone's pizza. Shooting it down or disabling it could make you liable for thousands in damages. The weird part is that you might end up paying more to replace the drone than it would cost to install proper detection equipment. Local aviation authorities want to hear about suspicious drone activity, but they want reports, not vigilante justice. When you spot a drone acting strangely, hovering for long periods, circling your property repeatedly, or flying in restricted areas, document it. Record the time, location, and behavior patterns. Most regulators have online reporting systems that actually work pretty well. Always check your local drone flight rules before installing any defense system. Some cities ban drones entirely in certain zones. Others require permits for anything that could interfere with aircraft. European Union rules are particularly strict about anti-drone devices. They require professional certification for most electronic countermeasures. But why do some people ignore these rules? Simple, they don't know they exist. Drone regulations change faster than smartphone updates. What was legal last year might be banned this year. Smart homeowners subscribe to aviation authority newsletters or check government websites regularly. The safest approach combines multiple detection methods without crossing legal lines. RF detectors and cameras don't violate any laws because they're passive systems. They watch and listen, but don't interfere. Acoustic sensors work the same way. They detect but don't disrupt. Physical barriers like netting fall into a gray area, but they're generally acceptable on your own property. Recording suspicious drone activity creates valuable evidence for authorities. Most law enforcement agencies now have specialized units that handle drone complaints. They know how to trace operators and enforce flight restrictions properly. Professional security companies offer legal anti-drone services for high-risk properties. They handle permits, compliance, and proper equipment installation. Sure, it costs more than buying a jammer online, but it won't land you in federal court. Multi-layered detection systems give you awareness without legal headaches. You know what's happening in your airspace, you can take appropriate action, and you stay within the law. That's a winning combination that protects both your privacy and your bank account. Protecting your privacy doesn't require breaking laws or risking massive fines, just smart planning and the right tools working together.